Fine. I have started the recording. Now, day 32. Let me create new folder.
Sir, please share your screen.
Yeah, just a minute. You can see my screen now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's create the day 32. So we are understanding loops and we have seen break, continue, nested loops. So some object related loops are there. Let us see. I will create new folder day 32. Day 32. And inside this loops 05 loops05.js. Now consider that this is my object const obj, and inside this we can have a is equals to 1, b colon 2, c colon 3. Okay. Now JavaScript allows me to iterate over this object also. JavaScript allows me to iterate over this object also. How do you iterate over the object? You can iterate over the object using for in and for off. For in and what? For off. So when you say for in, see, for in, for let key in obj. See now, let key is a keyword. This can be anything. Okay. Inside which? Inside this obj object. Inside this obj object. So if I say console.log and key $key value $obj of key, right? This is how we access object properties, right? If you want to access,
Yes.
if you want to access console.log value of a, how do you do that? You will do obj of
Obviously, of A.
right? You'll do something like this. Yes or no?
Yes.
In the same fashion, if you want to access in a loop, you will iterate over all the keys. Let me run the project so you'll get the answer. cd day 32, right? Node loops 05.js. Can you see? So this would be coming from here. This would be coming from here. Key A value 1, key B value 2, key C value 3. Correct?
Yes.
For in. So we can say loops h1, loops for object. Loops for object. So in the loops for object, we would be having first for in. What is that? For in. Loops for object and array. And here we can say for in h2, for in So this is the for in loop, and for in loop says that the for in loop in the JavaScript, for in loop, the for in loop in the JavaScript used to iterate over the enumerable properties of an object. Enumerable properties of an object. Enumerable means numbering, would be having names. That's what this. So 1 is having a, 2 is having 3. Enumerable properties. Okay. Now, just a minute. Now, second thing, let's create an array. Let's create an array. Now, let's have an array const arr. Oh, I forgot to ask you about homework.
Yes, sir.
What about the homework?
I'm trying, but how can I break the line?
How can I break the line?
Yes.
So 3, 6 and 11. So what you have tried? Have you pushed to the GitHub?
No, sir.
Why?
I'm only because I'm not able to break the line in star.
See, what I told you, whatever you do, that should be on the GitHub.
Yes.
Otherwise, I will consider that you haven't completed the code. If you didn't check in, which means that you didn't complete. So this
Sir,
is,
I'm completing, but I can't. First star is printing first line. Then how can I get a second line, new line?
slash n.
Slash n in a console.log.
Okay, we will cover that as a, we will cover that thing as in the JavaScript. We can cover that part as a separate topic. Actually, here it should be covered slash page escape sequences. Escape sequences. Escape sequences. So remind me, I have written over here, but still it is remaining. Let's continue with the loops. So have you searched on the Google or not?
Yes, sir. But there is a using document.write.
No. Document.writeln is something different. Right? You don't have a document object in the beginning. If you are working in the Node.js, and if you try to do document.writeln, you will get undefined or you will get an error. Document not found. Right?
And there is a string plus equal to then a star.
You can do that, but you need a slash n over there.
Yes.
Okay, you need what? Slash n over there. We'll see that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Object dot for in is used to iterate over the enumerable properties of an object. It iterates through all enumerable properties, including those are inherited from the prototype chain. Prototype chain. See here, key and this value. Now let's add the example code, and here I can say this would be for in. Well, this line is not okay. Keep it.
Yes.
This line is not required here in the doc. For in. Now h2 for off. For off. So let's take the example first. For off, we have an array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And now
Sir,
here,
there is 45.
no problem. It's a number, right?
Yes.
Let number of ARR. Let number of ARR and console.log, here we can say console.log, here we can say num. Console.log num. Let's go here and check the output. Can you see 3, 1, 2? In between there is a undefined. Can you see? We didn't write anything, that's why undefined. 3, 4, 45.
Yes.
So for of, the for of loop is used to iterate over the arrays, string and object and other iterable objects. So here we can say the for of loop is used to iterate over the iterable objects such as arrays, strings or other iterable objects. It provides a simpler syntax. Here you can say it provides a simpler syntax for iterating over the elements of an array. Elements of an array. Now let's copy this much code and paste it. So these are loops for objects and array. For in object iteration. For of array elements.
No, array.
Array elements. If you want to check array elements, you will use for of thing. Getting my point?
Yes, sir. Sir, for of is using object, array, string, other also.
Say that again. Object, array, string. You mean to?
No, sir. For of.
Okay, for of. And what's that?
We can use object for.
Object for means? So this obj. Okay, let us see what.
We can use for of.
Yeah, see for let key of, you can say obj.
Yes.
And here console.log key. And let us see what it prints. Console.log and this thing. Clear it. Can you see? Object is not iterable. You will get an error. Object is not iterable. And what for of says that? For of says that is used to iterate over the iterable objects. Now what are the iterable objects? This is another concept. Iterable objects. So when you say iterable objects, the objects which is having, you can say indices, or you can say they can iterate like an array. In the JavaScript, iterable object is an object that implements the iterable protocol, allowing it to iterate over using for of loop. This protocol enables object to define their iteration behavior and specifying how they can be looped and consumed over. How they can be looped over and consumed it. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Now iterable means what? The thing which would be having, the thing which can be iterated. Now for how to create anything iterable, right, we can do that thing, but it would be little bit on the higher side for you, because presently you don't know what do you mean by symbols. Presently you don't know what do you mean by symbols, but we can implement that part also, no problem. Iterable means what? The object which is having a known iterator, means the object knows how to iterate over the elements inside it. Object is known, object is knowing. If I have 10 elements, how to iterate over the 10 elements. Object is knowing that how to iterate over 10 elements. Such things are called as iterable objects. Iterable objects are having a iterator protocol. Now, what do you mean by iterator protocol? Iterable protocol that allows particular object to be iterated over, you can say, for off loop, but the protocol has to be implemented by that particular object. That protocol has to be implemented by that particular object, which would be having a function, and that function will tell how exactly the iterator would be getting implemented inside it. That is nothing but what? The iterable objects. So iterable protocol makes objects iterable. So here, if you go inside array, here is an array. Let's go inside and there is what?
In the object we can write a num. Not a key. Yes. Console.log.
Okay.
Yes. There is key.
Yeah. Can you see? Still, obj is not iterable.
Yes.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Obj, this key over here, obj is not iterable. So this object have not specified how this to be iterated.
Yes.
A very simple thing. This object is not knowing how this to be iterated to the next elements. So how
Yes.
I shall go to the next element. So that mechanism is missing inside this object, in short. So this object is completely unaware of, if this object would be treated as an array, how it should go to the next element. This mechanism is not available inside this object, and that's why you get this errors.
Yes.
Object is not iterable. You need to make this object iterable. So getting my point? So if you try to do something like this, you will get an error. Yeah. Okay, so this is about what you can say the loops, few important loops. This is all about, right?
Yes.
Now, what I need to do, we need to jump back to the functions. And we need to study one concept called as functional programming, and then again we will come to the arrays, because inside arrays there are a lot of things to learn. But before that, you need to know one concept that we will see shortly. Okay, so I will end this video here itself.